Hey guys, welcome to IT Learn 360. And in this tutorial of JIRA, we are going to understand some terms which we use frequently. So first of all, let us go to JIRA for Software Tester course, which is under Automation Testing Academy. And here, let us go to JIRA terms. Okay, so here we are going to get familiar with a lot of terms which we hear frequently in our daily life in an IT work cycle. Okay, so sprint. So as I mentioned already as well, that a sprint is a 2 to 4 weeks process, right? In which our task gets defined that from 1 to 20 tasks we have to finish in 3 to 4 weeks of a sprint duration. Ultimately, sprint is a time-based or time-boxed activity. Next is backlog. Backlog is a complete section where all the product-based tasks are written in a prioritized manner. Story point. A story point we use to define the complexity and efforts for a particular task, which means like for this particular requirement, how much efforts we have to put, how much task, how much work we have to do. That is something which we decide by giving a story point. Another is Scrum board and Kanban board. So ultimately, as we know, JIRA provides agile methodology, and in JIRA we have a Scrum board as well and Kanban board project as well. So ultimately, Scrum board and Kanban board both represent their methodology in JIRA. Moving forward, next is filters. Filters are used to search for a specific issue in it. Okay, we can use filters for search criterias and for creating the reports. Label. Label term is something which we not all the time we use, but we use it to categorize. For an example, this is homepage based issue, this is registration page issues. So it's like a category we give to a particular issue when we say that okay, these issues, these requirements are based on the label based issues, like homepage based issues. These things we discuss here in the label side. Now moving forward, the next comes, that is component. So component are used in order to differentiate between the domains. Ultimately, we use component to differentiate between one domain to another domain. Next is workflow. Now workflow, we used to move, let's say, if we move a story to another task, to between different to different columns or segments, when we move our issues, when we do a work, our issues gets done, right? Work to, sorry, to do, to in progress, then and done. So this is a complete workflow which we talk about it. Next is basic filter. So basic filter is something which have similar meaning, which we use for getting an information by applying a particular fields. This thing we are going to understand more in detail in future sessions as well, so that time it will make more sense. Story. Story is ultimately a requirement. Okay, user story, we like in agile requirement we call it as user story or a story, which is like which have a requirement written based on the request. After that, next is action log. Action log is a list of all items that come up after a meeting, that these are actions we have to take now. Bug. I'm sure bug is something which you already know, a problem which impairs or prevents the function of the product. A bug is something which is coming different from the expected result. Client change request. So whenever a client requests a change, okay, in the requirement, that is something we call as client change request. Moving to decision log. Decision is a list that came out of a meeting. That list we call a decision log. Epic is a big user story. Let's say I said that homepage. Now that homepage have many modules, many things which comes into the homepage. So we will create a big as a top heading as a epic big user story, and under that we divide our whole task. We call that an epic issue. Internal change request is something which we request internally in our team based on the requirement. Risk log is something where we list all the risks which can appear in a particular sprint of a project. Technical task, that we also call it subtask, ultimately the task which we divide into more than one or two issues, those we call as a subtasks. I hope this video will be informative for you. Thank you for watching. If you have any issues, do ask us back.